Hello everyone and welcome to Sim School, the brand new series here on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be giving you all of the details, high to low, moderate to extreme, left to right, and everything in between. Everything sim racing and how you can improve your on-track performance, your immersion, and also your enjoyment while playing your simulator games as well. In today's video, I'm going to be touching upon the grip circle, aka known as the traction circle. My name is Brendan Lee. I'm two-time Formula One sim racing world champion, and now I'm going to be showing you all of my secrets that helped me get those achievements. So you might be wondering, what is the grip circle? The grip circle is a visual representation of the g-forces applied during longitudinal and also the lateral forces applied to the car while going down the straights and going round the corners as well. You actually see this displayed quite often on the F1 broadcast with the cars going around the corners, and you'll see on the center of the halo that it'll go into 5G, 1G, 4.5G, doesn't really matter the number, but you can see on the center of the halo, it will be having the graph of how extreme the cornering or braking acceleration forces are as well. And I'm going to show you today how you can read that, interpret that, and how you can also use it to improve your sim racing driving. So now let's get into the heart of the video. And behind me, you can see we have a visual representation of what the grip circle is, and I'm going to show you how to read it and how you can use it to interpret your own driving as well, and hopefully make yourself faster, more confident, and smoother as a driver as well. So with that being said, you can see we have drawn a circle on the whiteboard, and at the top we have B for braking forces, at the bottom T for when you're using the throttle, aka accelerating forces. To the right we have the R, to the left we have the L, and that is of course going to be indicating when you're turning left and right accordingly. So something I want to touch upon is the forces are actually mirrored when you're driving and you're turning left and or right. When you're turning to the right, the forces apply to the left hand side of the car, and when you turn to the left, the forces are applied to the right. So that being said, the black dot in the middle of the screen is going to be indicating when you're pulling 0G, aka when you are stationary. The green dots to the top, right, left, and bottom of the screen are going to be indicating the maximum grip hold threshold available for you to be using. In this example, we're going to be considering that we're driving a Formula One car that maybe has a peak grip hold threshold of a 6G, and as well that can help your brain calibrate how much grip is available when we're going to be plotting it onto this circle. So we're going to be switching the color of the pen, going to blue as well, and you can see while we are going to be going down the straight in a Formula One car, we're always going to be pulling some accelerational g-forces, and that is going to be indicated here, and we're going to be pulling about 0.3 of a g while going down the straight. Only when you're stationary will you be pulling no g-force. Even in your road car, you'll be pulling some g-force, even if it's very minor g-force when you're going down the straight, and when you're braking, you'll be putting the g-force to the front. So Formula One has exactly the same physics as driving your road car, of course, just very exaggerated. So now when you brake in your Formula One car, you go all the way to the top and you meet your maximum grip hold threshold as well, and that's going to be up at 6G in the braking zone hypothetically. When you turn to the right, the forces will go to the left, and when you turn to the left, the forces will go to the right. When you go back on the throttle, you'll be hitting the maximum grip threshold as well. So you can see we have the lines there now indicating left, right, top, and bottom for your g-forces. So now the art of driving, the really special drivers are the people that can get the grip threshold all the way to the outside, or as close as possible to the outside perimeter of the grip. When you are learning to drive a road car, a racing car, especially though when you're learning to drive a racing car, because this is really where this technique comes a bit more in fruition, we're always told to brake in a straight line, meet the grip limit, come back down to the center, do all of the braking in a straight line, and then start approaching the corner. For this example, let's say we're turning to the right, so then we're told to go to the forces to the left hand side by turning the car to the right. And only when we have completed the corner, then we go back to the center, and then we go back to the acceleration. the thing that makes racing drivers really special and the people stand out from the bunch is quite simply that we're able to combine the forces of braking and turning, acceleration and turning at the same time. And this is where drivers find an advantage while going around a corner. So let's say we're arriving to turn 1 and turn 2 at Spain. So turn 1 and turn 2 at Spain are a really difficult set of corners to maximize your grip hold potential while going around these apexes, quite simply because you're arriving at a very high speed, you're hitting the brakes super hard, and then you're throwing the car in 4th, 5th gear in a Formula 1 car, straight to the right and straight away to the left as well in a very, very quick succession. So that being said, let's go through a live example on the sim and on the whiteboard as well to give you a visual representation of what can be happening. So when you're coming into the corner, you're going down the straight, you're putting 0.3 of a G in accelerational forces, let's say, and then you're hitting the brake, going all the way up, and now the first turn is a right-hander. So actually what you're doing is you're combining the braking forces now and the turning forces to start turning in the car, and this is what the trail braking of the car is actually doing, is allowing me to turn the car while also having braking forces applied. And this is what trail braking and combined steering and braking load will look like on a traction circle, or as well what I would call it a grip circle as well. And the art of this is quite simply to go through the first apex and then bring the load while you're starting to accelerate between the two apexes like this all the way to the right hand side, because now you're going for the left hander of the second apex, so of course the forces are applied to the right hand side of the car. And now as you come to the exit of the chicane, your car will start to accelerate down like this, and this is how effectively on a grip circle it will look while going through the first sequence of corners here at Catalonia, Spain. So you're accelerating, you have the G-force slightly applied to the rear with the accelerational forces, you brake and it goes all the way to the maximum grip hold at the front of the car, providing you brake to the maximum potential of the grip. And then providing you got to the maximum of the grip while turning to the right hander of apex 1, you'll go all the way to the outside. And now as you're starting to accelerate the car and now started to turn into the left hander, you start to apply the forces to the right, and this is how you go through corner 2. And now you accelerate out of the corner, and now the combined forces be putting the forces to the rear of the car. So now you might be thinking, let's see that. Let's see how that looks on the sim. So now on track here in Catalonia, Spain, as I talked about, the forces are going to go to the front of the car underneath braking, and then the magic is doing the combined load into the right hander to load up the left hand side of the car and then load up the right hand side of the car as we go through the apexes. So now jumping into the replay mode of the game and breaking down in a more analytical way so you can see a bit more of a visual example broken down frame by frame, detail by detail, and how the weight transfer is affecting the car and how you can translate what I showed you on the whiteboard into the simulator as well. So as you can see, in the braking zone, we keep the car straight, and as soon as we hit the brake just after the 100-meter board, the rear tire is going to pop upwards because the weight transfer is going to the front of the car and squatting the front suspension down as a natural result. So you can see the rear of the car has gone slightly upwards as now we've hit the brake pressure and we're going into the turn. As we've now used the maximum friction available from the tires, and as I talked about earlier, got to the edge of the grip circle where the maximum grip is potentially used, now I'm going to start combining my load and combining the friction of the tires with the braking force and also the turning force of the tires as well. Now, by being ever so very smooth with my turning, be very delicate with my steering wheel as I'm loading the tires up, coming off the brake pressure as I'm getting closer to the apex, and as you can see, once I am fully off the brake pressure, I am fully committed to the corner and putting the grip circle and the grip usage to the absolute limit to the left-hand forces of the left-hand tires, and this is generating me the grip to go around the corner as fast as possible. So now, as you can see from the outboard shot, you can see the car is fully loaded to the left-hand side of the car right now, and I'm at the very limit of the grip available to me in this situation. Now, as I start to accelerate, the car will squat backwards with the weight. As I showed you, it will start to go to the rear, and maybe I'm pulling half a G, 1G of G-force going rearwards right now as I accelerate between the two corners, and this is now represented with the rear of the car being squatted down, and you can see that rear left is taking a lot of the weight right now. But as I start to do the weight transition now, and you can see the car is now being forced to the right-hand side and squatting the right-hand side tires down into the road. And this is how the visual representation, again, is looking inside the simulator, as I've gone from fully compressing the left-hand tires down with the grip circle to now fully compressing the right-hand side down with the grip circle. And this is what's generating the friction and the weight transfer to get me round this corner. As you can see now, the car is fully loaded up to the right-hand side of the grip, of the friction available to me, and this is what's generating the ability to go around the corner. As I start accelerating away from the corner, the weight transfer is going to the rear of the car, and now you can see that the car, again, as we're traveling in a straight line, has gone back to half a G-force to the rearward as a neutral accelerational force being applied to the car. Once again, the car will only have 0 G-force or have 0 forces applied to it when it is stationary. When you're accelerating, even if it's by 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour, you always have some forces applied to the car. But in terms of relativity, the car is in a very neutral state right now because I am traveling in a straight line, just gradually accelerating up the miles per hour as we're going. So the car is relatively stable right now and not having relatively that many forces applied to it. Whereas when we compare it to right now, inside of the corner, you can see that the car is having a lot of forces applied to it on the right-hand side tires, especially as it's being squatted down into the road. I'm really trying my best to show you in a visual representation of how you can be using these techniques to be learning and growing your driving, to be honest, because there's not that many tools that are using a grip circle, and it's very difficult to read and to understand and how you can improve from it as well, especially using telemetry. So I'm doing my best in this video to translate to you about how you can be at home and not have to rely on telemetry and have to not rely on an engineer and other people to tell you things, and you can be your own teacher at home. This is really what I'm trying to drive and really push forward in these videos right now, about how you can grow yourself, learn yourself, and ultimately become the best driver you can be. So now we've cleaned the whiteboard, I'm going to show you how it looks to do a wrong and a bad and a slow grip circle and weight transfer to turn 1 and through turn 2, and how it visually looks. So how it's going to look on terms of the grip circle is we're going to have an acceleration of forces, of course, and then we're going to not brake to our maximum grip hold potential. So maybe we're braking 20 meters too early, what means we can't use the full potential to braking because we have not hit 100% brake pressure. So now, as we're braking, let's say we don't actually use that much combined forces, so we do not trail brake that much into the corner, what means we only have a very small window, as you can see there, between the curved blue line and the black dot. Of course, the black dot is still indicating 0 G-forces applied to the car, so stationary. So you can see there's a very, very, very small amount of combined forces in the car, what means the car is going to be very stable, it's going to be very, very, very easy to drive, but because there's not that much combined forces, it's going to be really slow. So that's how it would look to go through turn 1 at Catalonia visually if you were not using that much combined forces. Jump onto the sim and I can show you. Now I'm going to show you what it would look like if you're underneath the grip limit and you're basically doing it how you would be learning at the start of your driving, to be honest. Braking in a straight line, doing all your braking in a straight line, release the brake pressure, start turning in, throttle, and turn off the throttle and back to the throttle again. And this is how pretty much I learned it at the very start of my racing career as well, and I'm pretty confident this is how most people learn it equally. So you can see going down to turn 1 in the third person camera like we were before, we hit the brake pressure and we do it all in a straight line, so we're able to get a good braking efficiency from the car, but we only start turning in the car once we have released the brake pressure. What means the car is only doing one thing at a time. So the car is super easy to drive. It's very complacent, very compliant to my inputs right now, and it's, like I say, very just easy to drive. So I've broken, now I started to turn in. Then I'm using the grip circle, putting the frictions to the left-hand side tires. And then you can see we go on the exit. We get the wheel basically straight again. We start accelerating, putting the weight to the rear of the car as we start accelerating one more time with the weight transfer. We lift the throttle, start turning to the left, which means the friction is going to the right-hand side tires and then going round the corner. So just playing this in full speed one more time, you can see how much slower this is compared to combining our forces in the braking and turning and acceleration of the car. But this is very stable and very easy to do, and this is how we pretty much all learn, and especially how I learned growing up as well within the sim racing. So now, comparing the speed that we had before to combining the forces and do it in the professional way and doing it in the way to extract the maximum lap time. So braking, combining the braking and turning into the corner, combining the acceleration and turning as well, and now we're able to go through the corners as efficiently as possible. And this will play out on every single corner in every situation, that the more that you can combine your braking and turning without losing control of the car, the faster and more controlled you'll be of the car. And this is ultimately how the people in sim racing, real life racing as well, but specifically speaking about sim racing in this example, can really gain advantages over you and over your competitors, how you can get faster as well. And this is really the big difference between the best sim racers and the not best sim racers, to be honest. The people who can find that extra thousandth of a second per the corner. And this is the secret. This is really where you get the combined load out of the car and how you can maximize the grip potential as well. Someone, to be honest, that I think is at the top level of this whole technique, whether he knows that he's doing it consciously or subconsciously, to be honest, is Fredrik Rasmussen. When you watch his onboard, he's always so smooth with his inputs going into the corner. It's mesmerizing to watch, to be honest, that he's able to be so delicately smooth with his inputs going into the braking zone, into the turning zone of the corner, and he's utilizing that grip circle to its maximum capacity while going through the apexes as well. So definitely check out his onboards if you can find them on YouTube or something like this. He doesn't post that many onboards, to be honest, but the ones that he does post are extremely interesting to watch and something that I really recommend you to do to improve yourself as well. With that being said, we're going to jump back out of the sim. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Sim School. I've been Brendan Lee, and really it's been an honor and a privilege to be making this video for you today. I'm super enthusiastic, super passionate about helping you improve on your sim racing abilities as well, and to be the coach and be the tutor I would have loved to have when I started sim racing properly back in F1 2013. With that being said, that's my motivation. I really want to be doing the best I can to be bringing you the most educational videos to help you improve your confidence, fun, and also your driving skills on the simulator as well. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What video would you like to see next on this tutorial series? And I will catch you on that video next time. Grazie, ciao, ciao, bye bye.